Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne, and this is a short teaching called Jesus Wants to Be Your Intimate Friend. Um, as a person who's called to be a prophet of God, it's often tempting to prophesy and share the Word of God with people. Oftentimes, Jesus will say something to me, and my first reaction is to post it on Facebook or do a YouTube video with what he said about a person or a situation or a country. And it's tempting to run off and prophesy what he said. Could you imagine being in a marriage and your wife telling you things and you going onto Facebook and broadcasting all of your wife's personal information? Your wife may have an opinion about the former president, Donald Trump, and it may be something negative about him. Imagine you going onto all your social networks and saying, my wife said this about Donald Trump. You can imagine maybe that wasn't a good explanation, a good analogy for you, but you can imagine that Jesus would like to be personal and private with a prophet rather than the prophet running off and sharing his words all the time. I think certain prophets have a demand on them, and they have an audience that's expecting to hear from God through them. And I think some of what they say isn't meant to be said. I know personally, me and Jesus speak every day, and I'm not often sharing what he says to me personally. And Jesus wants to have a relationship with Christians, and he wants to have an intimate relationship. I heard a preacher say once that you shouldn't read the Bible just to get messages for other people. You should read the Bible mostly for your own edification. And that's like a similar concept, that Jesus speaking back and forth to a prophet shouldn't be the impetus for the prophet to share what Jesus is saying. There should be enough of personal conversation just to have an intimate relationship with Jesus. It helps to hear what Jesus thinks of Biden. It helps to know what Jesus thinks of Hillary Clinton. And if you're curious about those two people, he loves them, and he's got a purpose for them outside of the direction that they're going in currently. But he loves them, and he's got a plan for their lives that might be quite different to the way their lives are currently going. Biden's only got a limited amount of time before he loses all his sensibilities. So there's only a limited time to bring him into the light. But Jesus wants an intimate relationship with people. He wants to have an intimate relationship with you, an intimate relationship is one that has give and take to it. It has a two-way understanding. Love goes and flows both ways. That your love for God flows towards God, and Jesus' love for you flows towards you. Hopefully, I've got a book, How to Hear God's Voice, but hopefully you could learn how to hear from Jesus and speak back and forth to him. I can say that it's a wonderful way to live. It's a wonderful way to experience life, is having the capability, having the capacity to have two-way conversations with Jesus. Yeah, so Jesus wants to be your intimate friend. He wants to be there in the struggles. He wants to be there in the good times. He wants to celebrate you when your life deserves to be celebrated. He wants to mourn with you when it's time to mourn. He wants to pick you up when you're down in the dumps. He wants to walk beside you when you're facing hard times, when you're facing difficult times. He wants to be your source. He wants to be your remedy. He wants to be closer than a brother. He wants to be closer to you than a real brother in the Lord, a real brother like your natural brother, a brother or a sister. He wants to be closer to you than family. He wants to be the most important relationship you have in life. And if you're called to be a prophet, he wants to share his heart with you. He wants to talk to you about what's going on in the news. He wants to share his concerns with you. He wants to share his heart and his emotions and his desires with you. And he doesn't necessarily need you to speak into those situations. He doesn't need you to speak on his behalf. He just wants to fellowship with you and for you to meditate on his words and consider his words and consider his heart and consider his emotion. He wants to have like a marriage relationship with you. And if you remember the analogy I shared, that you shared your wife's private information with other people on your social network, he doesn't want you sharing what he shares with you with the public. He wants to have an intimate, close and personal relationship with you. And that's something that God has been leading me into over the last couple of years, into this more resourceful, more complete, more intimate relationship with God, where I don't have to share everything. And I know it's tempting to make a video and share what Jesus just told you about a certain leader or a certain country or a certain situation. I know you feel called as a prophet to share the things of God and the mind of God on certain situations, and perhaps you feel that's your calling to do so. But consider Jesus. Just take some consideration for Jesus' privacy. are his secrets safe with you? Do they remain a secret, or do they get shouted from the rooftops all over the world because he shared them with you? You may find if Jesus shares intimate things with you, that if you keep them a secret, that he'll share more of his secrets with you, and you'll go deeper and deeper into relationship. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I realize that the message is more for prophets, but I figure that being a prophet is nothing really special. Being a prophet is being a close friend of Jesus and being able to discern his voice and being able to share his emotions and his thoughts with other people. And I believe everyone could be called to be a prophet. Moses said he wished that all men were prophets. And I believe the gift of prophecy is available to every Christian and everyone that can hear from Jesus. So I believe that this message is important for everyone, and I hope that you were blessed by it. If you liked this message, press like, and that'll give me some encouragement. God bless.